All right. All right, so I have just started the recording and we are going to go over the New Jersey MLS. So I'm presuming everybody here will have that. I have a couple people here in the office, so if you guys have any questions, of course, you just let me know. Everybody on Zoom land. Can't see anything in that. So I'm going to be using Safari. I like it a hair better for a couple little reasons. And I guess most of you might be using Chrome, which is just fine. The only difference is really in Chrome are the way you save some properties to your saved contacts list. But I'll go ahead and log in the way I log in. Some people have the numbers saved here, the words. I find this a nice little trick. I know I love to give my little tips and tips and tricks. Okay, so the New Jersey MLS actually is quite full of interesting information. One of the first things that I recommend people do, I'm going to move some of these things out of the way here, is go to the toolkit right here and go down to user preferences. From here, you want to make sure you have your photograph, but here is really what I want to talk about here. I like to put in my default counties. So I work a lot in Bergen County and Hudson County. So I have those, this is default. And then I've selected a certain amount of areas, and you do that by clicking on the blue little magnifying glass. And I have just chosen some areas around the office that I tend to get asked about a lot. Once you select those, and you can select more than one by holding down your command on Mac or control on other, and then hitting OK. Well, I would just suggest right now, just choose Fort Lee, have at least that be your default. Where do you live? So Fort Lee, you? So I would just choose that too. Once you know, and I have Cliffside Park, which is nearby, things that people tend to ask a lot about. Okay. And then once you do any changes in here, you just hit the submit button. And what that does, it makes it so when you do your property search, those areas and things are already in there. You don't have to keep entering them every time you do it. I also have the residential selected, which is standard. The only other thing that I would mention at this point really is down here, the default report. I've noticed a lot of people having a brief report, and I would just go to the full report right here. And a default tool report is customer, but it's really the full report that you want. And then hit submit. And you also can choose different email signatures. So you have a default one and a custom one. I don't know really what the difference is that I did. I think I might have added something or made it bigger. I selected it, hit submit. So once you do that, when you do go to search, property search, all of those things are right here at the bottom already. There's my Bergen and Hudson County. Those are the areas that I've selected and active. Now, if you wanted to do a lot of active under contract and sold, you can make that your default, but that's just the way I've set mine up. Cool. Let's go back to the main page for a minute. I'll come back to this. So on the main page, one thing I will point out right away is the support number. The people at the New Jersey MLS are really helpful. If you have any questions, call them. They would help you very much. They have a technician on staff all the time, and the people who answer are very, very helpful. You can take this white bar here and put in, like it says, MLS numbers, addresses, etc. I sometimes use that a little more lately than I used to, only because you guys are doing it. What happens is when you put in an address, you get a pretty long selection of actives, expireds, withdrawns, which is kind of information I don't want, but the active does tend to come up top, and you can do it that way. You also can, when I have an MLS number, I put it here in the quick search area. A lot of times you'll get buyers who send you Zillow leads, for instance. So I'll go down the Zillow lead, find the MLS number, make sure it's NJMLS. I'll copy it and put it in there, and you hit the orange search, and it comes up right away with the number 1 there. And then you get that one property. Should you get more than one Zillow lead from your buyers, I would go to search MLS numbers here. And this is, they actually redid this recently. So you can put one number there, but I tend to use this for multiple searches. So you put the number in there and then it automatically jumps to the next number. So you can really fast put in like 2, 3, 4, 5 houses right away in there. And then you can hit search and those should just come right up with a listing report. Back to the main page for a minute. I'll come back to those. If you're working on something and want to start over something or do something different, there's something here called new session, and you can hit that and a whole new session comes up just like the main page you have. That's a very useful tool should you want to do a residential search on one and a condo townhouse search on another. You can kind of compare certain things. That's kind of a neat feature. I don't use it a lot, but it's there and you should know about it. Down here at the bottom is a calendar. And what's great about that is on the weekends, you can see the open houses. And not only for yourself, if you want to go see an open house, you can have it for your buyers as well. I'll click on the Sunday open house here and just show you. And now it's sorted by town name here, Allendale, Bergenfield, Pagoda, etc. And you can select, I have 198 right now, which is a lot. And you can click or unclick, you can select them all and send that report if you want to, or you can select them all and deselect what you don't want. And then there are other ways here of doing an open house report, which is really a cool thing. So hit open house report, hit go, or you need to hit select. So you can actually do open house reports search as well and just do the towns you want. Not something you could probably use a lot, but cool for you to use as an agent, and you can send it to your buyers as well. Other things that you may or may not know on your desktop in your My Info, you have your MLS number here. That's not your license number. There's your office ID. And if you click member update, some of the newer agents may like this. Then you click the top one here, update your information. This is your NERDS number. So a lot of people don't have that written down. That's a quick way of getting your NERDS number. Keep that somewhere handy. You'll need
I'm sorry,
that.
how'd you get there?
I'm on the main page. I'm down at My Info with the picture. You see where I'm circling? Click the member update info, the blue link. Ah, already logged in. Let me log out of this one. It should come up. So click on the link. You're all logged in or member. Interesting how that's not, oh, okay, this is what you would get once you hit the blue link. Are you getting that? And then your top one here, update your info, gives you kind of all your info here. And there is your NERDS number, first thing, name, NERDS number, NRDS, NERDS. We're all nerds in this picture, in this business. That's all I really do there. I really just help find other people's NERDS numbers. Over here on my updates, you have office hot sheets where you can see what's happening in the office. If you have prospecting set up, you can see the matches. Information comes in here. Raisa, what do you need? That I can't help you with. Might be in there, check it. It might be in there, can you check it? Sorry about that. Over here, I don't use a whole lot, but there's some information here you may or may not need. And that's really all I do on the main page. So searching is one of the main things we do. I don't use quick MLS because I just told you a way to use a quick search. Property search is probably one of the main ones you'll use. This is when you're looking for general properties. If you're looking for just houses in a certain area, and you see right here it says residential. You can do the drop down menu to go to 2 to 4 families, condos, co-op, townhouses, rentals, and more. I'll go through a couple of these things here. So in the default residential, where we set it up on our user preferences, so county's already in there, some areas already in there. You can choose price. Typically, if a person's price is 600,000, I'll put in 625, maybe 650, maybe 700,000 for various reasons. It's possible that you might have some negotiating room in there, depending where you are looking. And it's possible that somehow they may like a better house than what you've started looking for them when they see what another 25 or 50,000 may do. So I'll really put the max in there. Basically, I'll leave the minimum empty. So I'm just searching up to my max amount of money. So let's just put in 600,000. I'll hit OK. Up here in the count section, right now in the areas that I've chosen, there are 38 houses up to 600,000. Now, as I go across, let's say my buyer needs 2 bedrooms. He wants 3 bedrooms, he or she, but he needs 2. He has 1 child, let's say, and him. So he has to have 2, but 3 would be wonderful. So I'm gonna put 2 minimum, but I'll leave the maximum empty, because you may actually find 3, 4 bedrooms, you may never know. So if I hit OK, I still have 38. I'll hit the word count. Sometimes that'll make a change. I still have 38 houses. Now, just to see how that changes, you can highlight this and hit edit highlight, or you can double click the bar and it just brings it up. Let's just change that to 3 and hit OK. Now we went down to 30. So we now know there's 8 houses that had 2 bedrooms, whatever that's worth. We'll keep it at 3. Bedrooms, a 2 bedrooms, you're probably only going to find 1 bath. But if you don't put anything in, it'll just kind of find whatever bathrooms are available. But if you have a buyer who wants a 3 bedroom and must have 2 bathrooms, it will put 2 as a minimum. Must have. He won't buy the house listed as 2. So now we just came down to 17 houses. So now we have 17 houses in my area, up to 600,000, 3 bedrooms minimum, 2 bath minimum. That's pretty much my basic search. I try not to get too much more. Like, I don't always try to search balcony or pool, because sometimes agents don't necessarily put that in the appropriate places. You can try it, and you can do that here too. Like, here's pool, yes, no. There are certain years built, there's certain square feet. All these things you can do. If there's important things like a garage, if it's absolutely necessary to have a certain type of garage, you can certainly do that as well. If they must have a 1-car garage or minimum, you can do that. There's also a great little drop down here, which has a ton of information of various things if you look at it and really need to make it smaller. Sometimes the one that is used a lot is called ownership. And over here, this is more for REOs or bankruptcies and short sales. You can find that information here. So again, you would hold your command or control button and you can click certain things here. That's over here, this big drop down. I'm going to cancel out. I'm going to cancel out. So originally it just says additional criteria. So, you know, if you had a certain block and lot, if you had a certain elementary school you wanted, etc. I don't get too crazy here unless I need it for some special reason. If they have to have waterfront, then there's waterfront. That's what but again, you're counting on the listing agent to make sure it's listed properly. And sometimes it just doesn't work, unfortunately. So I'm trying to think what else I might use this for. Ground floors for single floor living. Maybe somebody would recommend, would write that in there. So sometimes, you know, I'll do that. And then if I don't get anything, I'll get rid of it and check it. And sometimes I'll find it, you know, without that criteria. So then you hit the orange search button and it will take you to the listings. So it's listed, no, it's not listed default there, by the towns. You can click any of these you want to. If you want to go by price, you can click price. It's going to reset it low to high. If you want to go back to towns, you can put it back to towns, Cliffside Park, all the way to Upper Saddle River. And if for some reason you're in one area in one town and you wanted to see a certain address, you could click address. You can, I search bedrooms once in a while. So there's 3, 4, 5, 3, 3. So sometimes I'll say, well, let's just see, maybe I'm doing a CMA or something like that. And I want to see, well, all the 3 bedrooms now are going between 575 and 480 in the town I'm looking at with this criteria. So the different things you can click on there. Let's go back to town. Now you have the MLS number. P means photographs. V will mean virtual tours, videos. ST is status. Status would be, right now we had search for active. We did not search for anything under contract or sold. So we're just looking for active houses that we can get for our buyers. Now the A with the star means under attorney review, when you have about 4 or 5 of those there, 4. And that of course means an offer was given, an offer was accepted by the seller, and it's now in the attorney's hands, and they're sending back and forth the writers to conclude attorney review. Then they go under contract and they won't be marked as active anymore once the listing agent marks it as under contract. So you can select all, there's 17 here, it tells you right away. You can click this button to select them all, or you can hit check all to check them all. But sometimes you'll have active, under contracts, and sold, so it'll just select everything. And this will just select the one category. So sometimes I will just tend to unclick under attorney review because I'm thinking it may go under contract. I don't want to waste.
Like for newer agent, like you're talking about the cheapest route.
What do you mean by cheapest route? Least expensive houses? Liz, are you talking to me?
Okay.
Okay, I want to mute you. So once you have some checked and some unchecked, you actually go up here and hit the word checked. And now your 17 active goes down to 13 active, and they're all checked. So since you now have your default at full report, which is great, you can hit the go button. And it will open up all your listings. So as you look through these listings, you can look at the pictures in a small mode here. You can click on them for a medium-sized mode here. And if it has an orange HD button, it will go full screen. Sometimes they take a little longer to load that way. So you just keep that in mind, depending what you're doing. In here, you can click this estimated monthly payment, which is kind of a cool little feature of this mortgage calculator. Right now, at this price point, with a 20% down payment at that interest rate under a 30-year loan, and this will include the taxes that are listed, gives you this amount. So if you're thinking rates are going a little higher and you want to go 4%, you could add that, and you can calculate monthly payment. Joanne, yes.
Yeah, what do you have to have the default on? Because mine says brief, no photo.
Great. So go to click on it, go to full report, and then hit go. Oh, 2 hands are raised. Go ahead, and whoever wants to speak out. I can't see everybody.
Okay, it's Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Hi. I just had a question about the in the upper right-hand corner, the capital letters that.
These right here?
Yeah, standard documents.
Okay,
And
yes, I will go through that. Go ahead.
okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. When I get to that, you can ask me for sure.
Okay.
So this, to look at a full, if you don't, after you go through these reports, I'll just go through one. You can unclick them here if you don't like it. And then you can hit, after you go through all of them, you don't like a couple of them and you unclick them, you go back to the top, hit go, and your 13 will be reshuffled. Now we're down to 11. So these are the 11 you like. Now to review a listing, we've seen the pictures. We've seen the estimated monthly payment. There is a new button here called Nearby Transactions, which I don't use a ton, but I will look at it maybe and see what's nearby and what their last listing price is, things like that. I find it a little more beneficial when you're looking into a complex or a building, because it tends to give more within that building instead of areas around. But it's a kind of a quick little way to do a CMA. I'm not convinced how perfect it is, but it's just another tool in your toolbox. I typically will hit the save button. Now, some of you guys on Chrome may not have this button here. You may have it on the other page with the listings. And when you go back to revise search or return the results, it'll go back to that.
I'm sorry, when you said click nearby, is that pull up the same style house?
Hold on one sec.
Did you say it gives you?
So, well, that's a great question. You kind of have to look through the information. So the nearby transactions, it does tell you, here's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, here's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. So it gives you some information of nearby, this is under contract, nearby transactions. So you have to kind of review it and take what you
Yeah,
want.
like the style of the house. Does it pull up the same
No,
style?
not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Oh,
Some will be
okay.
contemporary, some might be colonials. It's just giving you nearby transactions. So that's just why you've got to look at it. I don't use this a lot for comps. It just kind of gives us to know what's going on. So I started talking about the saving, either here or in the list that we just had. I will typically hit save, and on the bottom bar, I'll write down, you know, Beck, the buyer, and today's date, or Fort Lee. I'll put whatever information I want there. I'll hit save. It tells me it's been saved, and then I can access it through the save listings options from the search menu. So the next time I'm maybe logging onto the NJMLS and I'm on the main page, I can now go to search, go to my save listings here without having to refine those because the buyer wanted to see something. I can now look up the one that says Beck's buyer or whoever the name is, hit the green edit button, and that brings up those exact transactions that you saved. So we can select them and go back to where we were just a second ago, full report. So moving on, let's talk about these buttons now, Susie. The D stands for, if you hover, associated documents or just documents. And by rule, you should at least have the lead paint disclosure if it's before, what year, Bianca, do you know? 1978, correct, wonderful. And so anything before 78 should have lead paint disclosure, which you would probably want to download your computer, put it in DocuSign, and have your new buyer sign it if they're going to buy that property. Sometimes you'll find a seller's disclosure, sometimes you'll find a survey, sometimes you'll find maybe a flood map, other associated documents. If it's a condo or co-op, you might find management or buyer documents in there as well. Susie, you had your hand up. What do you want to say something?
Oh, so you have to hover, you hover over them, but there's really no legend that tells you what each one is.
There's not that many. You'll learn
Okay.
that. And D for docs, no.
Right.
R is for realist. So realist will give you a whole bunch of information. I'm not going to get in the realist. I do use realist, and I'll click on it mostly right away if I want to see if something's in a flood zone or not. It's supposed to tell you on the listing, but again, I want to make sure myself. There's all kinds of stuff here. Comparables, market trends, neighbors, cool reports in here. A lot of cool information. A lot of this is off the tax records as well. There's some of your history in there. But on the far right side, if I hit my flood map tab, this is what I look for a lot. Now this one's right on the edge of something. So the orange is out of flood zone, and yellow looks to be 500-year floodplain levee protected area. So those are that's good information for you. It should, and I'm going to close this. It should say right here, and this person was great who did this, floodplain 500-year, lender may require insurance. That is definitely something you want to let a buyer know and be aware of it with your inspector. All right, H is for history, and that'll give you a history through the tax records of what's kind of happened throughout this home. It tends to start from the bottom up, and it's kind of weird because like the oldest one is this one. It gets from 96 to 99 happened here. So it was active in 96. It expired in 97, and then there was a price change in 99. and it will tell you the price. So it started at 83,500, believe that or not, back in 96. They dropped it, no, they didn't drop it. It's still 83,500. But then you can see back in the year 2000, if we go to the top, it went active in April of 2001, 32. There was a price change, but I don't see the price change. Then it was active under attorney review. Attorney review removed is the ARR. And Susie, to answer that question, there's a status code definition right up here, which I have downloaded to my computer. You don't need a whole lot. That's kind of self-explanatory, but it will tell you some things. Like there's 3 different ways to do price change, and
Got it, thanks.
yes, that's kind of cool. I don't think it will say the documents like you were saying. What you will want to know is the W's. Withdrawn, which is not really used. You're either withdrawn temporary, conditionally, or unconditionally is mostly what we use. Temporarily means just that. It's temporarily removed for some reason. They're painting, fixing up. Conditionally means there's a condition is withdrawn. Maybe they're fixing up something. Maybe there's somebody sick. Maybe it's a holiday. They don't want anybody coming in. Unconditionally withdrawn means it's no longer being listed by any agent. You are able to call it and try to get it as your listing. So this is a cool little thing to see where it started at. If you know a buyer bought it at a certain, like this was last sold, so it was active, expired, sold. I now know it was last sold for $215,000 in 07 for $250,000. So this person is now trying to sell it for $475,000. So nice little increase there. Good information. Susie, your hand's still up. Do you want me? Okay, no problem. T is a very important one. T is for tax data. I would typically save this as a PDF or print it and save it as a PDF if my buyer is putting a bid on this. And the important things for the tax records that I like are block and lot numbers when you're writing up a contract. It tells you the official owner right here, and it tells you the official additional owners if it's there, and then corporation if it's an LLC or something like that. You'll need that when you write up the contract. It does tell you the property address. If there's any discrepancy, it's a red flag. And this one, interestingly enough, the owner's mailing address is different, meaning it's an absentee owner, or the owner has it as an investment, renting it out or something like that. You just need to know that when you're doing contracts, and just good information to have. Also, the current tax year right now is 2021 for this, because 22 is fresh, and they're paying 81 and change. Then you get into some other tax data here, equalization rates, things like that. You can see it's a residential. It's got, sometimes you'll have building square footage. This is 2088 or whatever it says. It's kind of small on my screen. Land square footage, but year built is extremely important when you do your contracts and things like that. And there's all these different little zoning things and building descriptions. Each town has its own kind of descriptions. You can sometimes figure it out. This is probably a two-story garage. I'm not sure what VL would be offhand. It could be a vinyl siding on this house. Let's see if I'm good on that one. Yep, looks like vinyl over there to me. You can if you want to. There's not a lot of information they'll have there, but it's good for you to know. I'll print it out and take it with me if I need any information of that. Like here, it just says year built, and it says 2000s, and it was renovated after that. 2000s is a little bit tricky because it was originally built in 1913. So that's just good information. Now we know it was built in 13. They probably tore it down and then renovated it on the existing foundation, which would be a typical type thing. You can confirm that also. Then there's other information down here. We're back in the same history down here, and mortgages and loans and who did what when. And the last thing over here is P, which is the RPR report, the NAR RPR report, which I love to use for my sellers to give them a CMA, and it's a great looking report. They have sellers report and property reports, which I love. So that will take you right to the RPR site. If you're not logged on to the RPR, do it. You pay for it through the NJMLS, so get yourself registered on it. And we can do a whole nother class on that later. All right, moving on. This is now the current list price, the last list price.
Is the RPR? So you're saying the RPR is part of the New Jersey MLS fee? Or is
It's
that a
either
separate?
part of the New Jersey MLS or the board that you joined, you get it for free. You don't have to pay for it. And it's a really great CMA and it's a really great report. I highly
Yeah.
recommend it. You know, you can do a CMA report here too. You have a cloud CMA. I like the RPR report, but cloud CMA is very nice as well.
They're having a class. NJMLS is having a class, I think, on
Well,
it.
that's great. I'm going to get a new session here and I'll show you exactly what Susie's kind of talking about here. This is exactly why you might want this. So now I'm on the desktop and here, sometimes it tells you about classes. Here's calendar at a glance. They got a Remind class. They got a web orientation. Here's a realist class right here that Susie was probably talking about. And if you click here, there's more classes that they give and they're great little classes. I don't know why this keeps coming up. I'm gonna get out of that. But there's great little classes there you can check too. So thank you for that, Susie. Looking at the listing report going on. So we know the price and down here, original list price is $475. They've lowered it to $469. I kind of wish they'd have that together. But now you know they've been to lower the price. I'm going to quickly look up here at days on market. It's been on for 124 days. I can click this blue link and get the map of where this particular house is. And I can see where it is if I'm not familiar, which is a great little feature that I use often. And sometimes I'll put in my driving directions. So I'm going to go to Port Authority, New York City, or wherever. You can do it, hit driving directions and go. It's much like your maps on your phone. It tells you how long it gets there and things like that. So, you know, if they say, well, how long is it to drive to New York City? You can do it very quickly. I actually use my maps on my phone a lot to do that. It shows you buses, driving, bicycling, things like that. We can see the contract date that the listing agent has. It's been on since 10/21. It's going to expire in March of next month, hence the 124 days so far. MLS number, residential active listing. There is a block and lot on here. I personally recommend not to use that if you do a contract. Go to the actual tax records and double check so you are not wrong. These things not too important. This little blue link here is the listing salesperson and the listing broker's number. What's cool about that is when you do a contract, you're going to want to get the person's name, phone number, email address, and their REC license number, which stands for Real Estate Commission license ID number, as well as the office information. So it's a great little link to know about. If you did just the listing broker, you would just get the office information. So that's a great little link there. If you're looking at a sold, it'll say the sold price and the sold date there. Uh-oh, I got the wheel of death coming up for some reason. Okay. So we know it's a 5-bedroom, 5 rooms total, which is probably like a living room and stuff like that. I would dare say there's more rooms than 5 in this house if it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Because that already counts to me as 6, and I do count them. So that's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths makes 6. There's probably a living room is 7, kitchen is number 8. If there's a family room, number 9. So just things to know about and think about. There is a master bath in the master bedroom. It's a contemporary style for whoever was asking earlier. And it's a 3-story home. There's your taxes, which you can also find on the tax records. Tells you lot dimensions like we just spoke about, and sewer and water source here. You rarely see this here at 1,000 square feet. Typically on the first floor, it would say something like kitchen, 1 bedroom, living room, dining room, something like that. Second floor may say 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, etc. And a third floor may say something like attic, since this is a 3rd floor unit. Basement, you could write things in there as well. And then there's various other information. I won't go over every little thing. This is good information here too. Let's see if there's anything really important. Well, if there's a fireplace, what type of heating, gas, oil, or multi-zone is always important for different floors. Of course, renovated is a nice word. Flood is very important. No association dues because it's freestanding home. Garage is always important. So this says no garage, but it has 8 non-garage spaces, which is a lot of driveway parking and or street parking. I would probably confirm that. Unfinished basement, it's private ownership, no great views, and they can close or you can buy it within 61 days or 61 to 90 days. That's when the sellers were able to get out of the house and give you possession. That's also very important. There's a description here, which you definitely should read, see if there's any red flags or great things. It's on a double lot. That's a big, great thing. There's the name of the neighborhood. All the plus parking for 8+ cars. Okay, now we get into showings, and this is agent remarks and showing instructions. So only you see this on the full report. When you go to the customer report that you send to a client, everything from here down is not being shown. So this is just for you and us. So if if this says use showing times, there's a little icon here, you click on it. Takes you to another little window, and hopefully you'll have this filled in. If not, you can fill it in. Not much to really look at. Not much to look at here. I normally go down the schedule single showing, and it will bring up the calendar or map. Everything that's blacked out is not available. Today's Thursday, the 24th. I don't know why it's all blacked out. Maybe there's tenants or people living there. They don't want people there. It's only being shown between 2 and 6 on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. I can click on it and not get in trouble yet. This comes up. So now I've been asked for a Friday at 2:15 for a showing. I don't really fill this stuff in too much. You don't need your buyer's name really. And you hit request appointment. I'm not going to do that now. Sometimes you get immediate confirmation. Sometimes you'll say requested, and you have to wait for confirmation for every showing you do to make sure you have confirmation. When you get confirmation, and it might say here, no, you may get it through a text, you may get it through a phone call, and you may get it through an email, the way you, depending how it's set up or you have it set up. And when you get the confirmation, there's also like a showing instructions link, which will tell you if it's a super lockbox, where the super lockbox is. Hopefully, if it's behind a bush or a tree or on the side fence, which happens. If it's on the railing or door, maybe sometimes on the back door because people don't want to see it on the front door because for theft reasons they don't want to. Or that'll say garage code, owner will let you in, whatever it is, it will say in that area. And now I'll just read this. It says use showing time. So it is tenant occupied. So that's why it's probably blacked out. Prefer showings between 2 and 6, but we just figured out. Use showing time for access. There is a phone number if you need it. The owner's name may or may not be correct. It may be the listing agent's name sometimes. The phone number typically is not correct. If you see this number happens to be the listing salesperson's phone number there, we don't want to advertise the seller's phone number ever. There is a lead paint disclosure. There is not a seller's disclosure in the documents, but we already know that. This tells you the listing broker's name, the listing salesperson's name. The same 2 links are here that we had at the top. So you can do it this way too. Sometimes there's a picture there of the person. This is the phone number to the office and the listing salesperson's phone number there, which hopefully is their cell phone, and you can call and or text should you need to. Of course, one of the biggest things is compensation to the buyer's agent, which is us. This one's paying 2.25% with a $250 fee. For a transactional agent, it's the same. It just says they're working as a seller's agent, exclusive right to sell. So I will go through all of this and just kind of look at it, go through the pictures, do what I just basically told you, save or not save. And let's say I love all these houses. I've saved them like I did before. I will now send these to my client by clicking customer report. And then I hit go. Like I mentioned, it's the same exact listing without that stuff at the bottom, but my and your pretty face will be there with our contact information on every listing. At the very bottom is how you send it. If it's a new person you're sending it to, you just type in the email address there. If it's somebody you've done before, You can come over here and choose the one you've done before. You can do 5. I almost always click that to send a copy to myself. So when my buyer says, hey, I really like the house on blank street, I can go to it and see it. So that's kind of cool. On the subject line, I will either write down the one address that I'm sending them for one link, or I'll say new homes in Fort Lee, or something to let them know what it is. As the message to the client, I'll say, you know, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here are the houses with your search criteria on it. Choose 1, 2, or 3 that you like out of this grouping, and I'll try to set an appointment on whatever days you're available. You can work all that out. The email signature is there from the beginning. For those of you who missed the very beginning, I'll go over this real quick. Toolkit, user preferences. You want to try to set up this one, and full report right here as much as possible. I can help you, or I'm sure somebody at the office can help you too. So that's my customer report. Now, while I'm here, I will show you when I do open houses or something like that, I may want to go to the flyer report, and I'll hit go. Should just choose one, but slightly different. This is something I would print out and put at an open house to give to prospective buyers who are walking in. It's got the big picture. It's got some basic information, 4 bedrooms, taxes, and baths, the description. Again, your information, which is always good as a touch. But what's cool about this is it has the inside pictures of the house. And there's the next listing. So what's great about this is people are going to 3, 4, 5 different open houses. They're not really necessarily going to remember which house is which by the end. Trust me, if not, you'll find that out. Is that the one with the blue wall, or was that the one with the blue wall? Did that have the basement? All your pictures are right here, and it's really great. So it's a great little feature. Jose, your hand's up. You want me?
I just didn't see where you went to.
Yep.
Were you able to send the report to your buyers? Where did you go on top? I didn't see that.
Everything is right here on this right here. Can you see my mouse? Flyer report, customer report. And so if you hit customer report, you just hit go. And all the listings that you had will be there. At the very bottom is the email area.
Got it.
And I got these as defaults. I'm not really too worried about that, but the CIS is not legal. It's just something you're sending them, but I do it anyways. I think that's really all that I really do here. Excuse me one sec. Have a what? Street view. No, I haven't seen street view here. No, not to like do a panoramic. No, not that I know of. Good question. No, that's a Google. You can do that on Google. Zillow might do it too. Yeah, I haven't seen that. If I do, please let me know. From here, you can return the results. Should you want to unclick some or do anything else, see any other information here. Bianca and Susie, I think it was you were talking about, there's more things here. I is information. This is a very quick little thing here. Got to tell you, I really don't use that at all. Taxes history map just brings you to a map of the area from this window. Realist, RPR, and docs. So this little one has some extra things on it because this is one of my current listings of all things. So L for listing, this would take me to my listing maintenance, which happens to be right here at the top. It says listing maintenance. All right, I'm gonna go back and show you a few more things. So that was property search. From property search, you can also do the same exact thing for, say, condos and co-ops and townhouses. My criteria is still there. A cool thing about this is if you know which complex you're looking for, like I know there's something called Woodcliff Gardens. I could type in the word Woodcliff, but typically I'll go over here to the magnifying glass, little tip here, click anywhere, quickly type in 2 or 3 letters. And if it doesn't take you right to it, it should take you very close. Well, that didn't work at all for me. I only get the first letter. Oh, it's not in here. That's why I'm in the wrong town. I don't have North Bergen. Let me add, I'm gonna double click here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna keep all these. I'm gonna hit my command because I'm a Mac. I'm gonna add North Bergen, hit OK. Now I'll show you. Building complex, click here, Woodcliff, WOO, takes me right there with 3 letters. Hit OK. And what's cool is it will hit OK. Now I'm only searching that one complex if you know the complex. So any building, any high rise, any low rise. So now there's 4 units that are active in that complex. If I go to status active, I can now do what's under contract, hit OK, and it's now gone to 9. If I want to do any kind of CMA, I could hit the solds. Probably going to get a ton here because 301. And the reason for that is you probably want to click on this link here and take your solds only back 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you want to do. If I go 6 months to get a little more truer feeling of what's happening, hit count again. Now we're down to 19. Let's just look at those very quickly. So you can see now we have 4 active, 5 under contract, 10 sold. So just information you can play with to figure out if you're doing a CMA or what you're buying one, but what did the similar unit style number sell for, like a G unit here and a G unit over here, what that sold for and how long ago, the dates are here, things like that. It's good information. I'm going to revise my search and show you something else that's really cool when you're in the condo, co-op, and townhouse. Let me get rid of this building complex thing. So let's just say you're searching this criteria. I'm actually going to get rid of these. Oops. Yeah. Let's just get rid of the solds. Let's get rid of under contract. We just want to see what's active right now. Or hit OK. But now in all these towns, let's put a price point on this one. Let's just say up to 600 again. So I went from 1,400 to 273. I think the search is up to 500, which you really never, ever want to do. So if you go to, so now we know we're up to 600. Let's put, let's narrow it down to 3 bedrooms minimum. That should drop that down. Yeah, 21. But let's, you know what, let's change that back to 2 and I'll show you why. 2 bedrooms minimum, we're still gonna have a lot. 149, so not the 200 and some. There evidently were 1 bedrooms and or studios in that. And what's cool about this also, if you hit style, you can now choose if you're only looking for co-ops for some reason, or if you're only looking for condos, or you definitely don't want co-ops. That's what I'll do a lot. I'll hit condo, townhouse, not really garage. So now I'm only switching condo and townhouses can be condos, can be a little confusing. Now we drop down to 83. If I wanted to only find townhouses, we can click just townhouses. I bet there's going to be a lot less. 5. So only 5 active townhouses up to 600,000 with 2 bedrooms minimum in the areas that I've chosen. I'm not surprised. 1 is under attorney review in Edgewater, Englewood, I'm sorry. There's 3 in Cliffside, 2 in Englewood. And there's some information here, but we're not going to go through all that. We can quickly look at them. Jose, you have something you want to say?
No, coach, I'm good.
Okay, your hand's up, that's why.
Sorry, I don't.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
No problems. This is the same basic deal as what you saw before. This says CCT, which is condo, co-op, townhouse. This here will tell you what it is. This is a townhouse. If it was co-op or condo, it would say that there as well. This one has virtual tours, which you hadn't seen before. So we click on that, you'll get a video or a Matterport walkthrough. So those are cool things as well. It's moving a little bit. There it goes. A little slideshow for you. And there's other links up here too for this one. Let's click on number 2. You're allowed 2 virtual tours. I know this complex. All right, I'll hit the play button. This looks like a video. Music. Playing music. So that's cool. Same information here. This one started at 529. It's now listed at 519. After 20 days, they had a price drop, which is probably smart because you know in 3 to 7 days what's going on with your place. Now, if you notice, there's no documents here. And on MLS, you always have to have one picture. Sometimes we'll see things with no pictures. Here we have taxes and HOAs, homeowners associations for condos, co-ops, and townhouses. This will also tell you here, this is an attached row house. Same basic, oh, this will tell you the name of the complex. So you can click on that and see information about Cliff House. This tells you about additional board associated charges. So this one has a 500 move-in fee. Sometimes there's elevator fees. Sometimes there's pet fees. All different things may or may not be in here. You would check with the management company to confirm things. It's run by Cedar Crest, and there's their phone number when you need to call them. Nothing much different here on that one. So let's go back to search. And this is another one I use called street address search. So I have a buyer now and they're doing searching on Zillow. So instead of sending me the Zillow ads, they're sending me an email saying, hey, Beck, can you check out 123 Main Street, 456 Cliff Street, et cetera, et cetera. I can now add them here. So I use this one column as a street number, not the whole range. So I'll just put in 123 Main Street. I'll either write it here or I'll click the magnifying glass to find, let's see if there is a Main Street. What do you know? There's a Main Street. Let's see if we find anything on 123 Main Street. This defaults for all, which means sold, active, etc. If you're only looking for active, you would hit active, and you can hit a search button at the top or the search button at the bottom. I'm going to say there's no 123 Main Street. So we'll hit revise search there. So that's a great way of searching a lot of addresses should you get some from a buyer. You can put a single one up there, single one up here again. The only other thing that I want to show you here, which I use a lot, is the tax record tab. So quickly on any house, basically, you can go tax search. You need to do two things out of all this, and you should get a very small amount, if not the one. So I'm going to hit the street number, and for the single number, I'm going to hit this address here of 210 Day Avenue. I'm going to hit OK, and right now I got 444 houses that start with 210. All I'm going to do is a street name, and I can either type in the word or find it here. Click here, hit 2 letters, and find Day Ave. I could have just done that probably quicker. D-A-Y, and hit OK. Now, if I hit OK, there's the one house I'm looking for, which tends to happen. So now I see the house. I see who owns it, the sale amount that I last sold at, and some information here, but I typically use this for my tax search. And there's the same tax search you had before. So if you have a house you're searching, you can find that tax records on there. If you just want to find a tax records, which you may do a lot, you can search it that way, which I like a lot, which I'll save and etc. So see, I'll save certain listings. Like I told you about this one, I'll save a lot of listings here. This is some of my current buyers of various things I'm doing. I can edit them, I can delete them here, or I can delete multiples by clicking here, then hitting delete checked. The other thing we haven't talked about yet, but you can manage your save searches here as well. So I don't use this button a lot, but from time to time, I do have, there's your save listings there as well. I have some save searches set up here. So if you're doing a property search, let's do this again, price up to 600. Let's say I want to save this search. I would hit save search, and you can save it as a list. You can open it, you can delete them. I'm going to hit cancel for a minute. You can save this as, let's just say 2/24/2022, save as a search. And that would put that in the saved search category. So if I search this a lot for either a person or many people, I can very quickly go to the search instead of having to type it all in. Really great feature. More importantly here, I use this for saving as a prospect. So now I'm going to save this now as my buyer, Tamana, and I'm going to save it as a prospect. This is called prospecting. So you can do that from here as well, but this is the way that I run it. I do my search first, and then I put in the 3 required things. First name, Tamana, last name, hi, and email address, if somebody's already in there. I'll hit continue. What's cool about this, and I use it a lot, is right here. I can auto email my prospect, and I tend to click myself as well. Auto email the prospect. I'll put a little email in there. And what happens is this is set for immediate as a default. What's great about this, really great about this, is anytime anything new comes on the market, any price change, any description change, you will get notification of that, and your buyer will as well. So if something new comes on the market, maybe it was a FSBO that came online, or maybe it went expired and came back online, whatever the reason, you just hit save and that happens. Really great, great thing there. The other thing I really want to show you is, let me see if I can find it over here, something called a watch list. Now I have my watch list alarm right now going off right here. I have 5 new watch lists. I can click that, which is the easy way, or click the other way I showed you under Toolkit. These are houses that I'm watching, various houses, and I'll put down a reason why, maybe like this is somebody who made a past offer. This is a complex I'm looking in. This is for another buyer. So the ones in yellow, something has happened to them. And I can almost tell you right now that this one has become attorney review because it went under A+. So it's attorney review. Updated showing instructions on this one. Don't know what the instructions were, but it's been updated. These are new. And this looks like this might have been now gone back to active. SI is showing instructions. This is now probably active. If I look at the date, no, I'm wrong. Showing instructions were changed here too. And there it is right there. This is a great, great, great feature for watching certain houses. What I will show you is, I'll click on a listing. Let's just choose a listing. Let's see. So this is a regular listing you all saw before. This one is a co-op. Been in the market for 9 days. What I do is right here, add to watch list. If I click it, yes, I'll say, this is Steve is watching this house. And I'll have it alert me by email and text. And it has also an option most of the time that's to watch by addresses, which I tend to do. But I will watch this by the MLS number. So now it's been added to my watch list, so I can see if there's any changes that goes on this house. If it's not an MLS, you can watch any house too by just watching it by address. I know it's a lot of stuff here going on. When you go to tax search, like we did a minute ago, to 10-day AB, let's go back to that. So once you can go to any house at all, go to tax records, the same button is here, add to watch list. I'm going to click that now because I have, now you can see it says watch by address. So I'm going to have them email me and text me. This is a guy named Jason I'm working with, and I'm going to say watch by address. This way, if it changes MLS numbers, I'll still get notified. And I have bought houses this way. It was a listed, then it went withdrawn, and then I got immediate notification. It was a FSBO, and I got notification. So that's why it's by address. So cool little feature there. I use a lot. CMAs you can do here. There's a whole CMA class with NJMLS and many on our calendar. Prospecting, we just kind of did. We can run the matches. We can add a new prospect and do it that way. And then you can change, and these are my saved prospectings right now. So if I want to see what's going on with this buyer, I can change searches, and do everything I want to from here as well. Tour open house, I don't use a lot, but those are ways of finding the open houses like I showed you on the calendar. There's rosters here should you need to find somebody for some reason. The toolkit, I don't use too much. All the forms and stuff are in DocuSign. It will tell you sent emails that you've done. Rarely use that. Again, user preferences. Watch list, I don't really use here because I get my alarms at the bottom. Alert preferences. So listing maintenance is when you want to add a listing or change a listing that you may have. I'm not going to go into this too much, but if you're going to make a new listing, you click on that. This listing load comes up and you choose this information of what your place is, your listing, and you can change, hold it for 30 days once you start it. There's a couple listings I have here, and these are the things that you can do once you have a listing. You can click on it, and let's just say we're going to modify that listing. This is what a listing looks like on the MLS when you put in the information. Stats is something that I love. If anybody knows me, stats I love. So especially if you're doing any type of sellers, I like to go to stats and then statistics. Yes, I want to leave that page. I'll keep number 1 default at MLS. I know it's past 7. I'll probably go another 20 minutes or so. Let's just do a quick little stat. Let's do 12 months. Let's do residential. We're going to do a county of Bergen.
How'd you get there?
Right here, stats, statistics. One of the most powerful things I have tonight, Juan, is this. So I'm filling this out, 12 months residential county. I'm not going to do a locale, but I will choose an area. I'm going to click and hit TNEC. There it is. And status is what I probably most important. You can click up to 5 of these by holding down the Command or Control key. Choose everything except the least. I don't care about rentals. I won't even allow you to choose it. Once you choose your criteria, I'm not even going to put in price, bedrooms, or anything right now. I'm going to hit execute. And this is one of the greatest tools, a stats report. So what this tells me right away is in TNEC for the last 6 months, or this is a year, I did, 424 houses were sold in TNEC. The average sold price was $583,000. The average list price was $581,000. So right now I know they're selling for more than they're listing on the average. I don't know if it's 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, so all the houses. So because they're selling for more than the listing price, you can see that they're above 100%. Liz, please.
How did you get there again? I know I just started
Sure.
shadowing. I tried doing it and.
Yep, go to stats
So
up here.
stats, yeah,
Go down to statistics,
yes.
and you'll come to this window. Skip number 1. Let's choose 1 year, and that'll put it in automatically. We're going to stay with residential for now. If you want to follow me, Bergen County is number 2. You would find that by clicking here. The area, I'm clicking the magnifying binoculars, going to TNEC.
I froze. Go ahead, I'm following.
You following me so far?
Yeah, I just froze. Okay, and invalid character you enter.
Yeah, anytime you want, but I'm just doing mine. And statistics is everything by holding down the Command or Control key except least.
Okay,
I'm gonna hit OK and hit the green execute go button. So the important things are how many were sold, what's the average price, and average days on market. So those houses are selling in a month and a half. If you want to know, co-broking means I listed it, you bought it with your buyer, 324 out of the 424 were sold. They averaged a little lower at 580, and they sold in 38 days. So they actually sold a little faster. And list sold means I listed it and I found a buyer for my open house. There were 100 of those. They sold for 589, just a little bit above average, and they sold a little longer, 66 days for whatever reason. You guys may or may not know that the 500 to 600,000 dollar range is a really sweet spot in our area where I am. Liz, you want to say something?
No, sorry, I forgot to bring my hand.
No, that's right. But so then the other important thing is down the bottom. Months of inventory is 1. We also call that the absorption rate. Now, 1 heavily tells me this is a seller's market. What that means is right above it says current active 39. So that's going to tell me that 39 houses are going to sell in 1 month. If no other houses come on the market, they'll all be gone in a month. That's a big seller's market. And why do I know in a month? Because they're averaging about 30 to 45 days. Now let's revise this for a minute. Now let's look at the same area, same everything. Let's add bedrooms. Let's go to 3 bedrooms. Let's go 3-3. I only want to know about 3 bedrooms in Teaneck. Now if I hit execute, now it jumped down, what was it, 580 before? It's jumped down now to 493. There's 177 of the 3 bedrooms sold last year in 40 days. And there's 0.9 on the market. So 15 of those 19 or whatever they were, they'll sell in less than a month. It's very powerful information for a buyer or a seller to let them know how fast things are going and what the average price is. If I revise it again, we can have some fun and go to 4 bedrooms. Let's go 4 bedrooms. And you can add bathrooms if you want to. Now we're up to 570, back to where we almost were as an average. So what was the last one, 470? So it's $100,000 more for another bedroom in Teaneck, basically, is what I'm getting from this. Now, if you really want to do some more intricate, you can change the 12 months for the last 3 months or 6 months, let's go 6, and see what the difference is. And you can see what's happening in the 6 months. So now we're at 555, we were at 570 a minute ago. So what's happened in the last 3 months? Anybody want to take a guess here? A couple things. It's colder. It's snowier. Prices are still pretty good. They've dropped a little bit. And
interest rates have gone up.
Bingo. Yep. Interest rates are also going up a little bit. But they're still selling 1.3 over listing price at a very fast amount of time.
Right.
So the most important thing, the most important line is the sold, right? Because it says average price sold, the median price, days that they get 0.3 and average days on market, right?
Yes, and how many are left to sell? So if you're going on a listing, appointment and this number at the absorption rate, the months of inventory is around 5 or 6, and you have 80 houses for sale, that's going to say those 80 houses are going to take 6 months to sell. That's not really a seller's market, because now there's 80 houses on the market. As a buyer, there's might be some negotiating room there. For some reason, they're staying on the market more. Maybe it's a higher price point. Maybe it's a town like Alpine, which is $2, $3, $5 million. They're not going to sell as fast as these 500 or 600s. So that's very interesting information.
So we look at the current active and months of inventory.
Yep.
To see if it's a seller's market. So if it's a 5 and above, it's a buyer's market.
Around 5 or 6. 100%. And I like to take a yellow Sharpie highlighter and highlight sold, average price, months of inventory. I do the certain things I want to talk about or make their eye go to. Let's do some fun here. Let's revise this. Let's just change Teaneck to Alpine. I'm going to get rid of the bathrooms right now. Let's just see the difference between those 2 towns. Average sold price, $4,479,000. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to revise for a year. So we're going to talk about the same. So now in that year, only 37 houses sold, 400 sold in Teaneck. Now the average price actually dropped within a year to 375. But that's powerful, because now we know they were 4 million, now they're 3.7 million. Which means those prices are actually going up for whatever reason. And now look here, whoever was talking to me about that one.
Question. Yeah, that some towns can be So it doesn't necessarily mean that only because we're in a seller's market, a town is a seller's market. Because over here it's almost 6.
100%.
Got it.
100%. I mean, rates could be as low as possible. Alpine's still going to be a slower seller because you're talking at an average price of $3.7 million.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people have cash around us buyers at $500,000 and $600,000. They buy cash. One reason why days on market are fast. Look at these days on market.
Mhm.
Lots more, 1 to 200 days on the market. So when you go to a listing appointment and they're asking 3.75 or above, listen, these are the stats. We're averaging half a year before these things sell, if not more. And that's why, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we want to price it fairly and maybe aggressively because you want to get to Florida in the sunshine, not be here in the cold. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Yes, thank you very much. It's going to take 6 months to sell these houses, and that's only if no other houses come on the market, and there's only 20. So as a seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, your competitors, you have 20 other competitors. What's going to make them buy your house over the other house if it's the same basic house? Number one reason, price. So we want to price it well if it's the same basic house. If they need to sell, it goes back to motivation. Cool, right? Great stuff there.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you did the analysis, the expireds and the withdrawns were included in that?
Yes,
Does that
sure.
affect like the sold prices or median prices, like any of that?
No, it's a great question, and thank you for asking that. So 38 were withdrawn. So look here, the average listing price in Alpine over the last year was $4.5 million, but they sold at 3 and 7, which gives them an 82% list to sales price, or vice versa. 38 of those withdrawn. Now, they were originally asking $6,200,000. Why were they withdrawn? We don't really know that answer. Maybe they just got fed up and just withdrew it because they weren't getting enough action because they're $2 million over asking price. I'm guessing, totally. Now, expired, 29 of those expired, and that average price was basically $3 million. So was it Danielle? Danielle, I would guesstimate, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, that you're marketing your house at 5.3 million, but the average price is 3.75 is really why we're not selling it, and it just expired. Could be one of the reasons, Danielle, but great questions.
Got it. Thank you.
No, 10 of those went back on the market. No, great question. And 24 of those were extended, meaning same agent just got an extension for the sale. But look at that price, $6.4 million.
Mhm.
Interestingly, Danielle, let's go back to TNEC real quick. Great thing to know. It's just all conversation, which is really great. So if we put in TNEC, let's go back to those 3 bedrooms. I don't know why. We're going to execute that. All right, so average price, $500,000. So this withdrawn is just about the average price. The expired, you can see, is over the average price. 44 of those came back on the market and dropped their price. That's interesting to me because they probably overpriced it, then they re-listed it when they went back on the market at a better price. And when they extended the price, that was even lower. Got that, Danielle, how that kind of works?
Yes, got it. That's a lot of great information. Thank you.
It's amazing, mind-blowing information if you kind of can figure it out. You don't know why the withdrawals again happened. Various reasons that can happen. They decided to stay, sold it off market, who knows. So great information there. And trying to see what else I really can tell you guys. I think we're almost done. How about questions? Anything else? Well, I think we basically covered all the great information there. If there's no other questions, you guys. Hope you all remember some of that. And the more you do it, the more you remember. And I'm always here to help you. Beck, there's my information down there. My phone number is 917-922-1890. rbecker@kw.com. I'm at Keller Williams City Views, should you want me or need me. And thank you for attending. I appreciate everybody coming tonight. And if there's no other questions, I'll bid you a farewell.
I do have a quick question.
Yeah,
Where can we find the, sorry, where can we find the recording?
Well, that's a good question. I actually don't know that answer. This is the first time I'm doing career builders with you. Who is this asking, Danielle?
Yes.
Check somebody at your office and see where they might have it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Joanne may have it. He may be the host of all of this and he may have it in his records. And if you can't find it, contact me and I'll find out for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, have a great night.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.